Welcome to today's sessions on custom clearance. My respected participants from across the country, on behalf of Indian Institute of Foreign Trade and Director General of Foreign Trade DGFT office, I welcome to these sessions on under Niryat Bandhu schemes. Dear friends, today we shall discuss how goods are clear, whether they are imported into India or whether they are exported out of India. Dear friends, we know that there is a body created by law. This body is known as customs. In case of India, it is the Indian customs, which regulate and which which takes the legal framework into considerations, which that what procedure is to be followed for export clearance and also for import clearance. My dear friends, customs is a custodian of cargo, and any cargo which comes into India must be appraised, assessed, and must be cleared by customs before it is clear for, for an importer. Similar fashion, any cargo which has to go out of India must be appraised, must be assessed, and compliance with foreign trade policy and various other rules and regulations must be maintained. Dear friends, this session is aimed to equip you to understand the various nuances which are involved in clearance of cargo which is coming into India and going out of India, and wherein our whole efforts will be to understand it in a fashion that how by using EDI network, which is a ICE gate network which has been created by Indian Customs, how goods are cleared, what are the documents involved, what is the various stages of custom clearance, how documents are assessed, what are the precautions which an exporter and importer or his appointed custom broker has to take in order to clear his cargo, and above all, we will try to understand that what kind of duties are levied and what are the custom clearance requirements, CCR, what are the custom clearance requirements which various preventive measures and various other regulatory measures which various acts and legislations provide as a legal framework for Indian customs to abide to. So our efforts in the whole sessions will be to understand both export cargo as well as import cargo, starting from filing of bill of entry to final assessment of bill of entry and payment of duty out of charge order by using electronic means in a EDI framework. Similar fashion, when goods are exported out of India, a shipping bill has to be filed by an exporter and goods are assessed, appraised, subsequently goods are registered for export clearance, and dear friends, finally a order of let export order is given so as to allow your goods to be loaded on a vessel which will take them to a final destination. In addition to that, our focus will also be to understand various processing of various licenses which are issued by Office of DGFT, which are processed by Indian Customs, which may be related to various kind of duty credit scripts. And dear friends, in addition to that, various duty neutralization schemes like advance authorization and EPCG and duty-free import authorizations, how those licenses are processed, what is the mechanism under which the clearance take place both for export and import cargo. So with these words, I request all of you to join us in technical session. Dear friends, so let us start our technical sessions and try to understand the various aspects of custom clearance. My dear friends, first of all, we must open on Google a website cbic.gov.in, and when you open this is a kind of screenshot which will come before you, and if you see in the blue color here, you will find custom duty calculator. May I request each one of you to please click here on custom duty calculator. This will provide you an important link about various duties which one has to calculate. And dear friends, in addition to that, we shall also try to understand the various stages which are involved in custom clearance. And one should open a database called icegate.gov.in, where we can electronically file our either shipping bill or bill of entry. Let us first start our flow chart for our import clearance. So an importer, and on behalf of an importer, a custom house agent, and now it is known as a custom broker. A custom broker on behalf of an importer go to service center. So what is a service center? Service center is nothing but ICE gate. At every custom house, there is a specific room being provided where there are certain terminal kiosks which are installed by Indian Customs or by the one which own that particular ICD facility or port facility, by the owners of that particular port facility. So in the service center, one will open electronically a system called icegate.gov.in, where the person will file a document known as bill of entry. Very, very important document, bill of entry. Section 46, subsection 2 of the Indian Customs Act 1962 specify that importer of the cargo should file thereof a bill of entry to proper officers of customs, either for home consumption or for warehousing. Dear friends, the section say two type of bill of entry, either for home consumption or for warehousing, but there is a third type of bill of entry which we will discuss subsequently. So when your cargo when you import your cargo, an importer has to file a bill of entry either for home consumption or for warehousing. Keeping in mind, if they want to immediately clear the cargo, it will be bill of entry for home consumption. Sometimes we buy the cargo in bulk because we buy when supplies are available at a lowest possible price. When there is a supply glut in the market, we buy in bulk in order to reduce our logistic cost. We buy at a cycle where the prices of the commodities or a particular items are at the lower side. So in order to make our benefits or our economic gains more, we try to buy in bulk. There are certain commodities which are traded in bulk, for example coal, pulses, and in addition to that crude oil, and these are the commodities which have a tendency to get traded in bulk. So we buy in bulk. When we buy in bulk, we will sell it in phases, and we want to ensure deferment of duties which we have to pay. We want to defer the payment of duties for a specific period, which is 1 year as of now. And this is a two type of bill of entry. This system then will match our bill of entry with IceGate when any vessels come from abroad, as we discussed that it file IGM. So a import journal manifest. So any vessel which enters the territorial water of India should file a import general manifest. Section 30 of the Customs Act say about it specify about the delivery of import manifest, and nothing can be unloaded from a vessel unless a entry inward granted by Indian Customs. So a vessel must file online on IceGate EDI system to Indian Customs a document known as a import journal manifest, which has a detail about vessel, about the make of vessel, about gross registered tonnage, net registered tonnage, what kind of cargo it is bringing in, who are the people on board, captain, their nationalities, what are the last 3 ports they have touched in, and what kind of specific other cargo other than the traded cargo, the cargo on board they have. So these kind of details are required, which are filed to Indian Customs, which provide also detail about the cargo which they have to unload at destination port, which may be any port of India. And then bill of entry system match the bill of entry with that of IceGate. And if system accept, now this is a system generated because electronic clearance is governed by certain protocols of system. So it's a system driven process. If system accept the details of 2 data set, one filed by IGM, one filed by bill of entry matches, it will be system will accept it, checklist will be generated, otherwise error will come. Now error come because of variety of reason. For example, there is a change in port, there is a change in nature of cargo, there is a change in consignee, a buyer has changed because of sale on high seas. So variety of 7-8 reasons because of which sometime data set does not match, but usually data will match. And if it match, an importer has to file the documents. In international trade, we do not deal in goods, we deal in documents. So documents are commercial invoice, packing list, bill of lading, which are supplied to him by an exporter of cargo from abroad through proper banking channels. So importer go pay or sign an acceptance under D or DP transaction or LC transaction, take the custody of document, because in foreign trade documents are soul of foreign trade. So he submit the document, submission, so we reach to submission, and then file goes to Assistant Commissioner of Customs for assigning somebody, approving somebody for the purpose of appraising a bill of entry. If cargo keep on lying for more than 30 days, cargo is usually forfeited by Indian Customs. Even in case of perishable cargo, Customs may take this decision even prior to 30 days. So Assistant Commissioner of Customs will approve the file, which will go to appraising officer, who take four very important decision vis-a-vis noting a bill of entry. This is number one, to classify the cargo. Dear friends, there is a nomenclature. We have discussed in our previous sessions that how cargo is classified when we have taken our sessions on ITCHS code. In previous sessions we have understood there is in India there is a 8-digit nomenclature which is followed by various agencies including DGFT, Customs, GST councils, and even Directorate of Duty Drawback. Dear friends, this nomenclature is unique to India. So harmonization has been done up to 6 digits, so our nomenclature may vary. Indian custom officer will try to understand where exactly cargo is. It should be classified so as to safeguard the revenue interest of Government of India, and to ensure that the various rules and regulations which are framed by Parliament of India are adhered to or are complied to. Classification sometime maybe the importer may sometime try to misclassify the cargo so as to avoid the payment of higher rate of duty or various kind of authorization and licenses which is lacking in order to bypass that. It's a duty of the custom to properly classify the cargo. So it's a first step. And as we have discussed earlier that various countries follow various kind of nomenclature. One should be clear. For example, in United States of America, there is a 10-digit nomenclature, China 10-digit nomenclature, Japan 9-digit nomenclature. In India, it is 8-digit nomenclature. So custom will try to understand based on harmonization at 6-digit that where exactly the cargo should be classified, and he will also factor the details of the packing lists to arrive at a fruitful decisions so as to safeguard the revenue interest of Government of India. First step. Dear friends, second step is a FTP compliance. We have previously understood in various modules of Niryat Bandhu, wherein we have understood that DGFT frames the trade policy of India, which can be, a item can be either freely importable or restricted for import, or can be imported through state trading enterprise, which is a canalized item, or prohibited item. In addition to that, there may be a quota regime or in price caps which may be imposed so as to ensure that equilibrium in demand and supply. Those are the measures which are taken by DGFT in the national interest. Dear friends, these decisions may be for both export and import. Wide Schedule 1, it is for import. Wide Schedule 2, it is for exports. So under Schedule 1 of import policy, specific decision of the DGFT which whether item is free or restricted or prohibited or state trading enterprise or under quota regime or under price cap that Indian customs has to adhere to. In addition to that, there may be some policy guidelines, general policy guidelines, which specify what are the various other provisions which Indian customs has to factor in order to ensure the adherence to various other legislation which may be related to various other acts which are passed by Parliament. Dear friends, third step which Indian customs takes is a preventive action. When we say preventive action, custom call it as a CCR, custom compliance requirement. What is that? For example, you are importing items which has compliance of Wildlife Act. You are importing, for example, leather. Now, leather in India may require a compliance with Wildlife Crime Control Bureau, or in addition to that, Wildlife Act 1972. In addition to that, other legislation may also come into picture. You are importing a food item. Let us take an assumption you are importing a food item. Then Food Safety Standard Authority of India legislation may come into picture. In addition to that, you are importing a car. Automotive Research Association of India, Pune, they have framed guideline, or vehicle research. There are dedicated research facilities for vehicle research in India. And similar fashion, if you are importing a helmet, a Bureau of Indian Standard, or you are importing a jewelry, a Bureau of Indian Standard, hallmark standard. So in India, para 2.03 of the DGFT, of the Foreign Trade Policy, Chapter 2, which specify that all domestic rules and regulations, circular, directives, guidelines, legislation, acts, and other, orders of Government of India or of DGFT will mutatis mutandis apply on import transactions unless otherwise exempted. So next step is duty calculation, which customs has to undertake, and under duty calculations it is done electronically online. So dear friends, we have to go to as I have explained earlier also, let me explain you once again. We go on Google, we type www.cbic.gov.in. When we open a particular website opens. On the left corner, we see, for example, as you can see on your screen also, we click on custom duty calculator. When we click on custom duty calculator, a database, electronic database, EDI database opens up, which is known as icegate.gov.in, on which there is a trade guide for imports. When we click on trade guides for imports, dear friends, it asks for specific details about what is a custom tariff heading, CTH. So we put our HS code for the cargo which we are importing, and then the complete detail, which complete duty structures, complete requirement for CCR, which is a custom compliance requirement, and various kind of notifications, exemptions and benefits which we can avail, each provided on the database itself. Dear friends, duties in import can be of the following types. Duties are defined on three broad parameters. Number one, duties are on the basis of purpose. When we say duties are on the basis of purpose, there are two types of duty. Revenue duty, which are usually lower rate of duty, 7.5%, 10% basic custom duty, is defined as a revenue duty. Sometimes duties are very high. Purpose is to protect the domestic economy or to discourage the import, and such duties are known as prohibitive in nature. For example, luxury car, when you import luxury cars in India, duty is as high as 125%. Wheat, since we have to protect our agriculture farmer, duty is 100%, because we have huge productions of wheat. We have to first protect our farmer, so we keep a very high rate of duty. Similar fashion, there are certain items which are used by rich people. Is French scent. If you are importing a French scent, duty will be high. And if you are importing, for example, olives, fresh olives, duty will be high, because these are the items which are usually used by the rich people. So rich should pay more, poor should pay less. That's the fundamental parameter that the customs and Indian government, in order to become a welfare state, keeps in mind. Dear friends, then duties are on the basis of imposition. Two type of duties. Number one, duty is known as ad valorem, on the basis of value. Second is specific duty. Sometimes it becomes tough for Indian customs to assess the value of the cargo, or to decide whether sometimes prices goes up, prices goes down, cargo is speculative in nature, cargo may have a perceived value. So customs in those circumstances try to impose specific duty so as to safeguard the revenue interest of government of India. Third type of duties are known as protective duties. These are provided in order to protect the domestic industries, which are, number one, can be countervailing duty. For example, IGST levy in India is known as countervailing duty. It is imposed. Why? Because there is a general convention that goods are exported, taxes are not. So exporter, for example, exporter is based in Singapore, he is exporting from Singapore, there is no tax which will be charged by government of Singapore on exporter. But the same kind of goods of the same quality, of the same price, with the same kind of standards, which compliance, if it is manufactured by Indian person, he will, for example, both of them are producing a particular item at $100, and Indian manufacturer will pay GST, which will make his product expensive. As a result, he will not be able to sell to any prospective clients. So in order to counterbalance such kind of behavior, such kind of malpractices, Indian customs charge IGST levy, which is known as a countervailing duty. So dear friends, second is anti-dumping. For example, there are certain type of cargo which are dumped by suppliers in order to create a market distortion, to gain more market share, to create, you say, so as to destroy the local industry, to bleed the local industry, and to kill them. And there are several examples. So subsequently, a specific body known as a Director General of Trade Remedies is created to look into such kind of issues where there is a malified intent of foreign suppliers to to bleed Indian industry and to make it to gain more market shares and eventually win Indian market for the long run. So government of India discourages such kind of behavior, and if such kind of tendencies are found, anti-dumping duties are charged, where the intention is to cause the injury to the domestic industry. Dear friends, in addition to that, there is a safeguard duty which under WTO agreements there is a specific mechanism, specific procedures under which the industry can also be protected by imposing safeguard duty. So these are the various kind of duties which an exporter has to factor. So these are known as, you can see on online, it can be known as a basic custom duty plus IGST levy, plus there may be anti-dumping, or there may be, for example, safeguard duty on specific products, not on every product. In addition to that, dear friends, there is a cess. Now, what is this concept of cess? For example, there is a cess for environment protection. And in addition to that, there is a social welfare surcharge, which is charged by Government of India. And the purpose is to create a welfare for the vulnerable sections of the society to improve governance in the country. That's the whole objective. Dear friends, now this, what we call as this, this cess is a specific creations of a pool where the funds go for a specific purpose, will be used for that specific purpose. For example, some year ago there was a, which was subsequently subsumed into social welfare surcharge. This was known as a primary education cess. So purpose was to educate Indian children up to the age of 14, which had become their fundamental right. Government collects certain cess which will be used in order to educate Indian children, and this money will be only used for primary education. Similarly, there was a secondary education cess. So cess is a special creation of pool which will be, the funds so generated will be utilized for that specific purpose only. Once this is done, another person will audit the whole detail, and then importer will go to bank, will pay the duties. If the value of the duties are higher, there are specific guidelines, file will go again to assistant commissioner. Now there may be a hierarchy of officers. For example, duty is 1 crore rupee, file may go to assistant commissioner, deputy commissioner, then joint commissioner, and may go to even up to the stage of principal commissioners, depending on what are the revenue interest, and if there should not be any compromise with the revenue interest of Government of India. Once all this is done, goods goes to green channel, electronically. Now a gate pass, e-gate pass, there is a concept. If you type on Google e-gate pass, the concept of e-gate pass has been introduced. Now mobile applications has also come. You can download it from Google Play stores. In addition to that, there are you say specific software which are being developed. You can do it electronically by using internet on your laptop, and electronic gate pass is issued. You count your cargo, go to shed appraiser, get your cargo checked, and if your cargo is intact, full and final, you find whatever you imported as per documentary evidence, goods are declared out of charge. You can take them and bring to your factory, to your shop, to your market, or to your warehouse, wherever you want to use it for the purpose of your subsequent commercial transaction. Sometime cargo may be in short, it may be a short shipment, it may be due to pilferage, it may be due to theft, it may be because of some stealing, something like that. And there are 4 sections which I would like to discuss. These are: number 1, section 13, which talks about when goods are pilfered, and section 21, which define Customs Act 1962 define as a flotsam, jetsam, derelict, wreckage. So these are the 4 terms which they use. For example, a vessel is coming, it has some container on board, so they fall on the sea, intentionally or unintentionally, in order to safeguard the smooth navigation of the vessel. Sometimes captain do so, sometimes it happens by circumstances. Such a cargo is recollected and it is brought. Usually the salvage value of the cargo will be less. In that case, you say you will be entitled to pay lower rate of duty, and in case of goods are pilfered, whatever duty you have paid, your duty will be refunded because cargo does not exist. So survey report, so you will lodge a protest, a insurance underwriter will come, then Indian Customs terminal, a person from a particular terminal of customs, and also from port and from shipping line, they will sit and they will do the survey of the cargo. Based on survey, they will write a report, and if it is proven by underwriter report or insurance underwriter report that the cargo is pilfered, an importer is entitled, number 1, exemption or refund of payment of duty which he has already paid, plus insurance claim for the lost cargo from the insurance company. Similar fashion, section 22 is for deteriorated cargo and section 23 is for damaged cargo. This will be done under the instructions of the inspector. Shed appraiser will give the file to inspector, and inspector will do the necessary notings, and accordingly decisions which is arrived on the basis of discussions and on the basis of underwriter report, insurance underwriter report, will be communicated to an importer. So this is whole cycle of import clearance, my dear friends. If we follow this cycle, this flow chart, we will be able to smoothly clear our cargo. Now let me move towards export clearance. Dear friends, once you have understood import clearance, export clearance is far more Easy to understand, reason being that the steps involved, because you know about the flow chart. Similar kind of flow chart will also be there for export clearance. For example, there is a exporter who want to export his cargo. He will appoint a CHA or a custom broker or custom house agent who will go to service center. So what is service center? We have discussed. These are the kiosks which are within the custom house where systems are there. So they will open a database electronically known as ICE Gate, on which they will file a document called shipping bill. There are 5 type of shipping bill. If cargo is going for exhibition, trade fair, or some buyer seller meets, or some for temporary show, and or some for cultural event, cargo will is a temporary export. Cargo will go, cargo will come back. An exporter usually file an ATA carnet with FICCI, and which is a sole National Issuing and Guaranteeing Association. Although DGFT also issues, but only in case of certain Government of India obligations or some sports events, DGFT has also been authorized. But usually 99% cases it is done by FICCI. FICCI issue you ATA carnet. Then your cargo is go abroad for the purpose of trade fair, exhibition, or something like that. Okay, only for the purpose of showcasing, so as to win more buyers and to gain more market share, to participate in trade fair, something like that. And then cargo comes back. So cargo go, cargo comes back. So you are not entitled to any export incentive benefit. You need not to realize your payment. Dear friends, purpose is very simple. Cargo is a temporary export. Second type of shipping bill is under claim of duty drawback. For example, you import some cargo on which you have suffered some custom duty on inputs which you used in your exportable product. Now you want to get refund, wish to get refund of that custom duty which you have already paid for, because there are 2 type of duty which may happen in any manufacturing activity. One is a GST, which is far more reformed, where you can avail the input tax credit. Set-offs are available, so you can utilize that against set-off, or you can avail the input tax credit of the debt. Dear friends, in case of customs, no set-offs are available, so you have to suffer some incidence of duty which you have to pay on your imported inputs, which will be utilized in exportable product. You are entitled to duty drawback. Specific discussion on duty drawback has already been done. 2 type of drawback, Section 74, Section 75 of the Customs Act 1962. We have already discussed in our previous module. Dear friends, in addition to that, there is a 3rd type of duty drawback, certain dutiable items. So some 50 item out of some 11,800 tariff lines which exist, almost 11,700 tariff line which exist in India, some around 50 items on which Government of India charge export duty also. So you have to pay export duty, and in that case you have to file dutiable shipping bill, duty free shipping bill, 4 type of shipping bill, and last type of shipping bill is a duty free X bond. This duty free X bond is used when your cargo is exported out of EOU, EHTP, BTP, STPI, when a export transaction take place from a bonded area, bonded under Section 65 and Section 57 of the Customs Act, manufacturing bond operations. We usually call them manufacturing bond operations. These are EOU, EHTP, BTP, STPI, from where if export take place, usually this is a bonded area, so you will export your cargo. So similar fashion, a checklist will be generated wherein your detail of your shipping bill must match with EGM. EGM is filed 14 days in advance by shipping line. A specific allotment of shipping number is done. Cargo go to DEEC, which is a duty entitlement and exemption certificate. There are certain licenses which are issued by DGFT. If these are entitlement, which may be under MEIS scheme or under SEIS scheme, although MEIS scheme is likely to be phased out very soon, and already partial phasing out has been done. So dear friends, entitlement may be in terms of duty credit script, or exemptions in terms of, for example, advance authorization, or duty-free import authorization, or it can be, for example, EPCG, export promotion capital goods schemes. So that specific endorsement from a superintendent of customs you have to take. Then if that endorsement is done, your cargo is usually registered for exports, and if it crossed a certain threshold in terms of, for example, FOB value or duty drawback or positive foreign exchange in India, then it will go same kind of appraising where 4-5 steps will be involved. Those 5 steps are: number 1, classify the cargo, as we have discussed in case of import clearance. Properly classify the cargo. FTP compliance, same, cargo is freely exportable. If it is restricted, a special export license is required. If it is a canalized item, it must be exported by a canalizing agency, otherwise NOC from canalizing agency is required, and prohibited item can never be exported. Dear friends, in addition to that, there is a preventive action, same action, CCR, that is a custom compliance requirement. Then there are incentive calculations. So in case of import, it is a duty calculation. Now it is a what we call as a incentive calculation. And then your cargo is given to an inspector. Very few cases, maybe 10 to 15% of the cases, cargo is inspected, cargo is checked, and that even is based on risk management system, RMS system, when there are specific details of some gross violation by an exporter, or it is going to certain countries, it is a specific certain kind of cargo, or some other such previous details for which specific entries are made by Indian Customs in RMS system. Based on that, certain cargoes are inspected and that will be examined. Otherwise, LEO is given. LEO is late export order. And my respected friend, here I would like to mention 3 sections very importantly. These are section 39, 40 and 41. So EGM is filed under section 41 of the Customs Act, Export General Manifest, and section 40 say nothing can be loaded on the vessel unless cleared by Indian Customs. So you cannot load your cargo on a vessel unless your cargo is cleared by Indian Customs. So that is a LEO order, which is a late export order, you cannot clear. And section 39 say exit outward. So exit outward is filed under section 39. So this is a brief detail about various precautions which one can take, or various stages which one has to follow vis-a-vis export and import clearance of cargo. Should you find any additional problem, please be in touch with us. So dear friends, we have today discussed the various stages, steps which are involved in order to clear the import cargo into India. We have well understood that how bill of entry is filed, what are the various types of bill of entry, how checklist is generated, and various kind of duties which an importer has to pay at the time of import clearance of cargo. Similar fashion, we have also understood various stages and steps involved to clear the export cargo, wherein we started our journey from filing of shipping bill, electronic filing of shipping bill at ICE Gate. We understood that there are 259 facilities where electronic clearance of cargo both for export and import take place, and now various involved steps, for example electronic filing of documents through e-Sanchi schemes, and how electronically you can pay your duties, how electronically your gate pass is generated by customs. So these are the issues which we have appraised and assessed today. I hope that you will enjoy these sessions, and if you feel any additional requirement, please be in touch with us. We will provide you additional material. With these words, I thanks each one of you for your participation. Thank you very much.